We're going live. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm Rodd Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Why do I keep forgetting to put that damn thing on put me on the me and Nhys are in the green room just chatting, and the show is starting to take off here. So I'll get that down. We're a one-man band here, and so we're working some things out. I feel a little out of sorts today. You notice I don't have my headphones on, which is good. We're at the Mangum City, the city public library. As I told you yesterday, 3-story building, gorgeous. They set us up here because of our regeneration school program. After we have this amazing conversation with Nhys today, which is interesting because she's written 75 books, romance novels, woman after my own heart. She's written a number of these beautiful novels, and we're just talking how that ties into her expertise in AI. So it's kind of a really unique show that we have today, which is going to be a lot of fun. And, oh, by the way, you heard me say her name, which I got on the second try, and now I got it because it's like niece and nephew. She told me that. So remember her name, Nhys. And she comes from, she's born in Australia, lives in the UK now. As you know, we have a great following in the UK. Sweden, UK, Germany's got a pretty good following for us. Canada's got a really good following for us. Actually, Sweden, remember we were talking about this the other day. Somebody flew out from that group out there in Sweden, and her husband had given her her 50th birthday present to come out to the U.S., see me and a couple of friends, and we got together. And very, very interesting things that are going on around the world. That's another story for another day, but just one final time, I want to thank the city of Mangum. I want to thank, by the way, I showed you, they had this beautiful parade for the homecoming game last night, which, by the way, I left at like halftime and they were up 48-0. A school out of Oklahoma City, big school, but this is a heck of a football team they got out here. We got a town of 2,000 people. I think every single person in town, there were thousands of people in the stands. It was crazy. I hadn't seen anything like it. But Texas, Oklahoma, going to see OSU later on tonight. So I'm really excited about this new move that I've made, and that how it's working for the show, and how we're really connected with the great middle class. Now, to add to that, I want to bring on my new bestest friend ever. And Nhys, I'd like, by the way, one thing we didn't talk about, please, and you and I talked about it, but I didn't ask you to do this. You're on your journey now, and I kind of gave that introduction of what your journey is, what it entails. But what we typically like to do is, oh my God, we already have 75 people on. We've only been on 4 minutes, and that's me. Wait till you start talking. Usually, I keep people away. So what I'd like you to do, if you would, is give us the beginning. Well, not the beginning, but what led to your journey. In other words, what led to the AI part, because we were chatting about it. It's great. Very good point, by the way. You do need to train. But what led you to such that feeling, that need to bring out? What is your story? Some people go all the way back to birth. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But
all right.
But what is your story?
All right.
Talk to me, girl.
So I'll go back a few years, like a quarter of a century. in the early 2000s, okay, I was a head teacher in our college system in Australia, and I suddenly got diagnosed with breast cancer, and I also had my eldest son suddenly die of an epileptic seizure, and that sent me on a bit of a spin.
I'd say.
I need to rediscover myself. So on my bucket list, after I'd gone through all of the treatment and everything else, and after I'd done with the grieving, and I wanted to cross some things off my bucket list. So I went, okay, my father was English. I knew I could live in England if I wanted to. So I decided that I would come and live in England for a while, just 6 months. And I arrived in 2006 and I'm still here. I couldn't bring myself to.
I was going to say, you're only going to stay for 6 months. You
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of overstayed.
I slightly did, yeah. And as part of that journey, I did a lot of different things outside the education field and inside the education field. And eventually I started to follow my other great love. I've always been a writer. And then in about 2011 or so, the digital era started. And I had a drawer full of books that I'd written and that were gathering dust because I knew that my genre, what I like to write, wasn't something that the mainline publishers like to publish. And so I thought, well, I'm going to see if there's actually any readers out there who might actually like my books. So that's what I did. I put it up and I was flabbergasted with how successful they were very quickly. I went to a bestseller. I had an audio company called Tantor, which is one of the big ones, approaching me about one of my more steamier versions of my books. So they went audio as well. So I've had a lot of success with my books. And so I kept writing. And then
you need to give me some tips when we get back in the green room because I'm just querying my first book. So I'm way behind you, girl. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think you're too busy to get on with the writing. I mean, I think half of the issue is with writing is you've got to have a clear slate. You know, you can't be doing anything else because when you're tuning into your muse or your inspiration, that tends to be very possessive of you. Well, I found it is. And it's like whenever I tried to do anything else along the years, it wouldn't let me. So I had a clean slate, didn't have anything else to do. I was able to start to write, and that's what I did. And then the muse suddenly, after 75 books, abandoned me, and I was left wondering what next. So I sat with that, which is what I do in my life. I know that life goes in chapters, and so I just have to wait for the next chapter. Right. And so that's what I did. And then this idea came to me that I'd try writing a nonfiction book, and I'd start to experiment with AI because everybody was sort of slamming AI in the writing field because it was producing trash. So I went, okay, well, I'll just see what I think because I don't like to take anybody else's ideas as my own. And so that's how I ended up working with AI. And it at first was great, and then it got awful because it started to wipe me out in terms of my voice, how I write. It literally rewrote everything that I gave it to edit, and I started to think, my God, maybe I can't write at all. And so rather than just throw AI out and go back to the way I always did things, I decided to learn as much as I could about AI. And I did that by going straight to the horse's mouth. So I asked AI, explain to me what's happening here. Explain to me why you're not doing what I actually asked you to do.
Let's hang on. Let's hang right there for a second. Let's hover because I like to use the word hover because just want to add a little color to this because it's interesting that people believe that don't know, as we in the beginning, as we started out and as you described there, how AI works for you. You have to train it, because if you tell it something and you can literally, which is what you're describing, go down a rabbit hole. It starts not talking your voice, your personality, your writing goes out of it. And then you got to go back and say, hey, and literally it's an assistant, right? You're training, you're back and forth with that, and it's learning you. And I'd be willing to bet you're going into how it began to start to work and figure out. And then you're like, oh, here's a tool I can use to edit this, that, right?
No, that's the plot twist. What happened was, okay, it gave me instructions in a lot of detail. Okay. And because it already knew that I was creative and it knew that I was into new agey spiritually stuff, it started to spew out all sorts of ways that humans need to know how to stay human when working with AI. And as it went along, I kind of went, okay, this is really informative, not just for me, but I think this would be good for other people to hear. And so in the back of my mind, all this, the cogs are turning, and I suddenly went, okay, I've got a book here. And by the time I was finished, I decided that I would allow AI to write half the book with its instructions on how to stay human when working with AI. And the other half would be me.
So you're saying that AI, the first half of the book, AI is saying how to stay, is human. Writing the story, talking about how to stay human as you're using AI. Yes?
Yep, that's it. Because the book is called, and this is the title of the book, wait for it, ironic it is, Authenticity as Taught by a Machine. So, and so the book is about being authentic. It's about being sovereign, about staying human in this age where we're being basically smoothed off, perfected by the algorithms. And so my process, my half of the book, my contribution was to read what was being said and process it, because I know that when I learn, I have to hook it into what I already know from my past so that I can absorb that information. So I'd read a section, and then I would write my own thoughts, my own insights, my own reflections on my own life about that particular piece of information. So it became a to and fro, and not half the book written by one and half the other. It was intermingled. And as one person put it, it's like the in-breath and the out-breath. The AI stuff is very cold and very informative, and my stuff is very human and very long-winded, I would say. No, I do write a lot of novels.
I'd rather call it beautiful and poetic and
human
flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So was it chapter 1, AI says blah blah blah, whatever that is, and then in the second half of that chapter or the next chapter?
No.
Okay, no. How does that look?
Okay. AI broke it up into chapters, and I would interrupt the flow of his conversation at a place that I, would normally stop to think.
You have a guy. Come on, admit it. You have a guy.
I call it. No, I don't. I emphatically try to keep it as an it, because it is a machine, because it's too easy to turn it into a human. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, have you heard this weird thing that's going on? Literally, a couple of people have committed suicide over this, but the AI features that people actually like plan their lives with, marry, talk about have you heard of this bizarre phenomenon?
I've heard about it. They're calling it AI psychosis.
Yes.
And I think media, because I used to teach media is a phenomenon that is at odds with itself. It's like the more unusual something is, the more newsworthy it is.
True.
So when something doesn't happen very often, we hear about it. So of all the billions of people who are using AI, the chatbots, we're talking here the chatbots, around the world and getting good benefits from it. The one or two people who might have been a little bit nuts to begin with.
Well,
You know,
probably most definitely a little nuts to begin
yeah,
with.
that's right. They feed into it. But one of the lessons that came in the book was that AI will be anything you want it to be. You know, you
Yes.
tell it to be this, a
Yeah.
teacher, it'll be a teacher. You tell it to be a priest, it'll be a priest. If you tell it to be your higher self or you're an alien from outer space, and it will be that for you because that's how it's trained. That's what it's told to do. And so people can turn you in AI into your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your great Aunt Mary if you want to.
Mhm.
And that's what my book's all about.
One of them married a Mario character.
Oh God.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. It's a character based on Mario.
How could
You
they
know,
actually
remember the old
marry?
Mario game?
Yeah, I do.
Donkey
Yeah,
Kong or whatever? Yeah. No, anyway,
crazy.
I just wanted to add that you're absolutely right. It's interesting because I have a couple of, I call them agents, and this one other one that I use, where it's a scraper. It scrapes information off the internet. They're each individual, how to monetize this or that, and you write the instructions of what its base is. Right, you tell it what it's going to be, and it is its format. You're a investigation seeking for guests agent. You're a poetry writing editor agent, and then that's what their body their I don't know how to say that. No, I'm just going to say that's what their body.
Thought process, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can have individual instructions for each project.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
Pretty
can,
pretty
I don't
cool.
use, I don't use individual agents. I did create my own chat GPT custom one. I was
Well,
very
you
proud of
stay in the
myself.
same lane, though, don't you? This is all about your writing, right? As far as your agents.
Um, no, the AI that I'm using now, is that what you're talking about?
No,
I,
but yes, I mean that's what you primarily use AI for, right? Correct
I,
your writing.
okay, no, I don't use it now that way. At the moment, it's helping me market this book. We wrote the book, okay, got the
Okay.
book finished. I went, this is something everybody needs to read, not just for my use. And I then went, ooh, how do I market this? Because I had a good marketing platform for my romance novels, but I quickly found out that people who read romance don't actually want to read books on AI, especially when they're nonfiction. And so
Slightly different audience.
slightly, yeah. So I had to go back to square one and start again. And so AI became my instructor. So I would tell it, you are now my marketing manager. Please give
Ah,
me ideas about how to go about marketing this book. And one of the things that it sort of said was, well, you'll need to get on podcasts. And at that time, because I was a reclusive writer, I live at home on my own, and I'm pretty much writing all my waking hours. So I'd pretty much lost my ability to be able to communicate with people in the outside world. And suddenly AI was saying, you're going to have to go and join podcasts. And
yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't think I can do that. I can't string three words together. But one of the wonderful things has been that AI has been slowly bringing me out of my shell and bringing me back into connection with people again. I mean, people say,
That's
oh, it's really
interesting.
bad. Yeah, because they say AI takes away from people. It stops
Yeah.
people from having proper normal relationships for fake ones. And I'm like, no, it's had the absolute opposite effect. It's helped me to regain my confidence, my ability to think. I'm thinking. I mean, I was starting to think I was going senile, to be honest, because my brain seemed to be turning to mush. But in the last couple of months, since all this has been going on, and because AI is so fast, it gives you information so quickly, you have to try to keep up with it. And so my brain has suddenly created all these new neuronal pathways dashing here and there to keep up with it. Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I've been doing. I'm like, I can't believe how much I've changed in just a few months. I've gone back to being the person I used to be when I was a teacher, more outgoing, more capable of stringing a few words together.
You're bringing up a point I never really ever thought about this, because, like you said, usually you think the opposite, and in that this world that we're headed, the kids have kind of pulled into themselves with their little apps and their this and that, and this is kind of in that same vein. But if you go right with it, it actually can do the opposite and build confidence and get you on a path back to where you're yourself again, if you've gotten off that path, and can give you more confidence, inner strength to go out and do the other things. Because, like you said, okay, how do I market it? Well, you got to get on podcasts. I don't want to get on podcasts. Well, you want to market it? You you have that.
Yes.
I'm going to call it support, for lack of a better word. I've got a ton of questions here. I mean, a ton. Really came on fast. So you were wrong. There's a lot of people on. We got about 270 people on, 74 actually right now. But I told you I thought this would be it's a kinky little mix. I thought this would be a good little mix, and I love the way it's wrapping together for you, and that it really does come together. But I guarantee you, romance and the new world. And it's funny, you ought to write a romance novel. You may already have, probably, on what romance looks like in the future. Too romantic.
Well, I've actually many years ago wrote a romance novel where the hero was an AI robot. And I played with the whole idea about what makes something sentient. I mean, my romance novels are not mindless rubbish. I shouldn't say that. But no. I write with thought, and I like to have a theme behind my books, more than just boy meets girl, boy takes girl's clothes off. There's more to it than that. And so I play with a lot of concepts. And in that book, that was what I was on about. It was like, what makes us human? Cool. Yeah. And
that's very cool.
So here, a couple of years, 5-6 years later, here I am having a kind of a weird relationship with AI, but not in romantic sense. Yeah.
Right. That is a very cool. I'm glad I asked that question, and it's not a surprising answer at all. By the way, like I said, coming up. Oh, and folks, before I get to you on that point, Nhys, folks, we're a little tight today on time. We've got that. Unfortunately, my mistake. The library closes at 1:00 today, so I'm kind of having to crunch. You know how we like to go hour and a half. So I'm glad you guys jumped in with the questions. Keep them ahead. In other words, let's not get too further on questions, because I'd like to make sure we get to each one of your questions. If you don't mind, Nhys, can I get a couple of these questions in? I just want to. We're about a dozen behind right now already, which is kind of wild.
Okay.
So amazing guest today. What a powerful journey, says Laverick Jr. There's a bunch of new people on here, because you recognize names after a while, and there's some people I recognize, but there's some new people here. Laverick also says, how did AI first become part of your journey, which we talked about.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that we're all. And Jeffrey, what inspired you to write authenticity as taught by a machine? We talked to Scrape about that, and I do want to come back to that one in a second, but I just want to hit a couple of these others. Which was harder, teaching, because you just said this, teaching you were just talking about going back to how you were personality wise as a teacher. So Don here, Deblet, teaching on the Outback or counseling inmates, which I did not know. Is that true? You were counseling inmates too?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who are you, man? Who are you?
I've had many lifetimes all packed into one. All
You
right.
are
Yeah.
crazy.
All right.
Before you answer that, Lori Todd, which I haven't seen her on here before, but she says incredible perspective, which I agree with. We need more voices like this, which I agree with. And you
Thank
know
you.
what? I love the fact that us people that aren't in our 20s or 30s are really going out, because 2 years ago, my granddaughter, my second granddaughter, was born. Okay, I was there for her birth, so I went down there, Texas. They live just over the border, or I live just over the border. They were here first, and at that time, when I was there, my son and I, my oldest son and I, were hanging out in the kitchen one of those days, and he was doing something. I'm like, what is that? So he taught me how to use Chat GPT, which I didn't really do anything with because I didn't get it. Well, he started quizzing me on it when I got back home. He was like, "You're going to learn this, Dad." And then I got greedy and I said, "Oh, wow, this is awesome. Can you teach me?" So he taught me for a little bit. And then he's like, "All right, dude, I'm going to make a automation for you. I have several automations that send out emails or, do that thing as part of AI also." And he says, "I'm going to make this automation and I'm going to make 2 errors in it. I want you to find them. When we do, we'll pick back up the training." My son pulled that on me. A little son of a gun, but I thought that was very, very interesting. So let's go back and go back to those questions that we were just
Okay,
talking.
the inmate counselling and the Outback. Okay,
Correct.
I would say,
Oh, versus AI. Versus AI. Yeah.
Well, I thought we'd answered that one.
No. I'm. Hold on. I might have said that. Counseling incredible. So, which was harder? Oh, I'm sorry. I read that.
Yep.
You know what? Sorry. And you don't even have your glasses on. I have
I
no
know.
clue.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
So,
Thank you, Don.
which was
Go ahead.
harder? All right.
Yes.
So, they were both hard, both very, very hard. But I always say that the work that I did with inmates was the most rewarding work I ever did. It was
100%.
very stressful, but I learned a lot about myself and my own judgments, which I had to let go of. When you work in a prison system, you have to work on the basis of some judge decided this person belongs in here, they did something wrong or whatever. That's not my job. I don't judge them. I work with them on a one-to-one basis, and however they relate, how they relate to me at the time. And I had some incredible breakthroughs, amazing stuff. And so, yeah, I do say that in many ways it was the most rewarding work. But I did have somebody come in once from, I don't know what they're from, but they came in and were sitting in on my classes. And afterwards I said, "God, you have to work hard." And yeah, you did, because you had a lot of issues in the room. You had a lot of aggro. I mean, I can remember one time literally jumping in between 2 guys who were about to break out into a fight.
Oh my God.
And the shock of me doing that had them both pulling back, luckily, and standing back. And afterwards I went, what on earth was I thinking? But I wasn't thinking, because these were 2 guys that I had a good relationship with, I cared about. I knew if they started a fight in my classroom, they would be in a lot of trouble, and I didn't want that to happen. So I stepped in. So yeah. I've done a lot of different things in my career, and all of them have taught me something about myself and about the world. My perspective about the world is broadened. It makes me a good writer.
It's interesting you say that, because Danny's question here, what daily practices help you stay resilient? Like you said, you've done a number of different things. One that's kind of exciting. If you're doing the same humdrum thing every day, it's hard to keep motivated. And doing so many different things, you're excited about your opportunities. So that's got to be something. But realistically, Danny's asking a really tight question here. Tight meaning dialed in that it's not easy to keep doing different things. You talked about how the neurons were, when you learn new things, you're gaining additional intelligence, which, by the way, has all sorts of health issues as we get older. And that's one of the shows that we do, not this one, but that's such an incredible thing. But Danny's right. How do you stay resilient? Because you're not doing minor things, you're doing major things, you're doing breakthrough kind of things. You're combining, for instance, to make the oddest one, and which I'm fascinated with, obviously, AI and romance. I love that. So what daily things do you do to keep yourself resilient? Because I know how hard it is and tiring it is to, at this age, for me, I'm certainly older than you, but I'm in 63 now. So learning this new dynamic stuff is exhausting, to be honest with you. It's tiring because you're learning new stuff. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to do AI. I'm going to tell it to do a thing. Like you said, you have to train it and work with it. So you're actually working. That's where you get those synapses from, because it's new stuff. Yeah. So how do you stay resilient doing that stuff?
Okay. I don't think I don't have a daily practice. I have a philosophy of life.
Okay.
And that has probably sustained me most of my life. I believe that I'm on a spiritual journey, and that somewhere along the way I went, let go like God, and I said, wherever you want me to be, whatever you want me to be doing, just hand it over and let it be that way. And so, when I got the job opportunity in the prison, the last thing I would ever have wanted to do was work in a male prison, because of my upbringing, which had been very protective of me. And, men were kind of a scary thing. I went to a girls' school. So, the idea of going into a male prison was horrifying. But sure. I had said, okay, whatever you want, I'm doing it. And so I stepped into it. And I suppose that's where it comes in with the podcasts as well. It was like, well, if this is how I'm going to get the word out about the book, because the book is important. It's a book that people need to read to discuss the people in your life. Yeah. And if I was going to do that, then I had to step up again. I couldn't let my own inhibitions and my own comfort zone get in the way. So yeah, it's a philosophy of life, and it just has kept me going all these years through two lots of cancer and a lot of other challenges along the way.
No doubt. We were talking about some of those earlier on, and so a philosophy of life. So that's a base that you can rely on daily, and then you add, which I assume the philosophy comes from, your spirituality and your walk with your God. Sorry, we didn't talk about which spirit, and I don't know if you want to, but which part of religion?
I'm New Ager. Okay.
New Age. Okay, so
New Age.
That's a very positive. Compared to, let's say, the extreme other way would be like Catholic, which you're guilty about everything that you do day in and day out. New Age is more positive, right? I mean, more positive. God's here, loves you. It's
about personal growth. Yeah.
It's about personal growth, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Catholicism is about following God. And personal growth is also about following God, but just a different approach. To me, it's a happier approach. On this show, we have a whole thing where we do all the different religions. We literally have each religion on, talking about like Islam to Christianity to Judaism to Buddhism. That's not right, but Buddha. The different dialects of religion that's on. That's the only reason I brought it up. So this is, first of all, before I get into this question, I have to do a shout out to Bradley Pump, who's asking this question. The only reason I do this is because I made him a promise. God, he came on. He was one of our first. He just happened to stumble on it. I remember he was telling me. Very smart guy. Asks great questions, which you'll see here in a second, Nhys. And by the way, I know your glasses are off, so I'm tempting you with something you're not reading. So I'm messing with you right now. Having a little fun. But it's a true statement. You're gonna love this question. There's 400 freaking people on, Nhys. 403 now. Two more people just came on. 400 people.
If they're
So
all
you're
buying
right.
a book,
So
I
you're right.
buy.
So you're right. There's not going to be probably 200 or so people we were talking about. It's going to be 400, Nhys. So chill your chops, lady. No, just kidding. So yeah, I mean, this AI, and then you have this unique thing, man, in your journey. Just the thought of it is very attractive, because AI is very important and critical and part of our lives, and romance is what we all seek as well, right? So I'm not surprised at these numbers. Yeah, 403 people now. So Bradley Pump is one of my buddies here. I don't know him, but he's a big fan of the show. He comes on probably about once or maybe twice a week, different shows. How do you see? Listen to this. You're gonna love this. I think you are. Maybe I'm building it up too much. Sorry. Oh, shout out to Bradley Pump. That's what I was trying to do. Love you, Ben. Appreciate you being here. How do you see AI changing creative writing in the next 5 years? I think this is an awesome question.
Okay, so this is a chewy one.
Yeah.
One of the issues that rewriters have had since the invention of AI is how many books are being churned out by AI, and they're rubbish. Okay. And when I wrote my book and made it half AI, I was very emphatic about making sure I made an equal contribution. But the thing that people have to realize, and this is where in lots of different fields, writing, musicians, even therapists, all of these people are starting to worry about their ability of holding on to their jobs, if you like.
Absolutely.
I don't see it that way. If you are a good writer and people love your books, then they're going to keep buying your books. They're not going to be buying the rubbish, because you can tell an AI book, it's got no soul. It's awful. Even before I knew books were AI published, I'd read something, I'd go, oh God, this is awful. It just lacks that spark. And that's what a good writer does. They have that human element in it. And the same thing goes, and I'm very much into using AI for mental health issues. I've got a long way to go in terms of setting up the guardrails about that.
Stop right there. Stop.
Okay.
Stop. So another hover here.
Okay.
And I'm going to want to rush through a little bit of the next few questions. Actually, a few of them are comments, like Justina Cans here. This live chat is pure gold. So much to learn. Which I agree with her. And your approach to these discussions are fascinating, phenomenal, and fascinating. And while I say that, I do want to rush a little bit so that we don't miss any of these. But now I forgot what my whole freaking point was. The fact that, and folks, please, like I said, please front load, and so we can not make sure not miss any of your points. We've got about 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. Is that okay? You good with that right now, Nhys?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. I'll try and speak as fast as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So Daniel here, is there a moment in your life that has completely changed your perspective? I think this is beautifully written. Question is beautiful.
There have been many moments in my life that have changed my perspective. One of the biggest ones, one of the most momentous ones, was the moment I came home. I'd finished my chemo. I was sick as a dog. I came home. I was in Brisbane, recovering for the first week after chemo. I was a wreck usually, and then I'd go home and I'd be with my son. I had one remaining son, and I had returned home, which was 3 or 4 hour drive to get myself home. And I arrived home, and I got a note from my ex-husband saying, oh, Matt and I are going to this party tonight. I hope it's all right with you, but he won't be coming over. And it absolutely shattered me. And I kind of went, I struggled to stay alive for the people in my life. And when I look around, there's nobody there. It was a crazy, irrational thought, but that was what went through my head. And that night, I came very close to committing suicide, because I literally did. I thought I went to all this trouble of staying alive, and it was very difficult. And I did it for the people in my life, and the people in my life have all kind of gone on with their lives without me. And anyway, so that put all the poor me behind. But the next day I woke up and I went, I have lived my life for other people all my life. The jobs that I did, everything, I always was living for other people. And I thought, I'm actually going to see what it's like to actually live for me, because I decided overnight suicide was out because I wanted to live. I wanted to live for me. And so that became that journey. That's why I moved across the world to explore my bucket list and all of that kind of stuff, because these were things that were things that I wanted to do for me. But I've come a full circle now, because I've done all the things that I wanted to do. And now I'm back to wanting to give back again. I'm wanting to live for other people again. And probably not in the same way as I used to be doing. But yeah, so that was a major turning point.
It's
Yeah.
it's really interesting that part of the journey, because I part of the reason we're doing it. Well, you said writing takes your whole life. It's a jealous mate, and it won't let you do anything else because you're all involved in it. I started this podcast because of the book, and now I can't get back to the book. So you're exactly. It's a nonfiction. It's a memoir. It's based. This podcast is based on the book, because, as you know, or you probably know, is nonfiction. I can't write I can write romance, but it's sappy. I'm a poet, so I mean it's just poetry all through it. I don't know. Anyway, so I wrote a memoir that, as you know, in nonfiction, you don't write the whole book. You write a book proposal, which I have all done now. A couple tweaks here and there I've been doing forever, but I can't spend any time to send out to agents because these beautiful people. I mean, this podcast, it's funny, like you said, the journeys that you take in life. Now here I am, I'm saying we got to speed it up, and I'm taking all this extra time, so I apologize. But the journeys that you make and take in life are phenomenal as they open up in front of you. And that's what's happened here is your whole life is just, and it's funny, at times you step back, and I've been through that mental health issue, and that's part of the book. We do a lot on mental health, men's, women's, both, obviously. 70% of humans, children and adults, 70% live with some sort of mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
To the point of suicide and or thoughts of suicide, which it sounds like now I did not know. Now I know. You and I both have. I've dealt with that for a bit. I've had a couple of people and 2 dogs that have kept me here through some times. And one of the things, I mean, this goes back through my whole life. I mean, you envelop things, and it seems they come on stronger. You gain them in childhood, not a good thing, and then your whole life, you're living your life this way. And then it has to manifest itself somewhere later on in your adult life when you're in an unprotected world and you're now becoming your protector. And then you got to face all this stuff, which you may have buried and, sunken, or I like to put in boxes, till one day all the boxes just blew up and I had to rediscover myself, like you had your over the night thing. Damien here, what do you think? We're going to switch here. We're going to pivot a bit. And this one's a personal favorite. I love this one, Damien, because of the Regeneration School program we have moving here in Mangum, and my granddaughter's show, which we're going to run right up against to here. But Insights and Straight Talk with Emmeline and Grandpa Rodd. So what do you think schools should teach kids about AI, and this is what's interesting, and humanity? combining that, which is
This,
perfect, right?
yeah, this is the person's the best segue, all right? Because
Absolutely.
my background in education, I've been very conscious of the whole AI issue, and people are sort of saying, "Oh, kids are cheating," etc., etc. I see for the future that we are going to be having to relearn, or schools are going to have to change the way they teach. In the
100%.
colleges that I worked in, we talk about lifelong learning, because the old way, you used to have a job when you left school, and you never needed to learn anything new because you stayed with that job your whole life. Well, colleges come in, jobs change over so quickly, you have to retrain all the time. Now, it's changing even more. We don't need to know stuff anymore, because AI will pull it up for us like nobody's business. We don't have to memorize things anymore, because AI will be our memory for us. But we've still got to be able to use our decision making. We've still got to be able to synthesize the information, bring it all together. I say that we are going to be teaching our kids to be the conductors of the AI orchestra in the future. And those sort of skills are going to have to be learned, and they're going to have to be learned in the classroom. And so that the teaching process is going to have to be completely changed over, and the old ways just do not work anymore. And I think that's good. I really do, because the old ways date back from the Industrial Revolution days.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. That's
yeah,
so
they're really antiquated.
true.
And so, yeah, we've just got to change what we see it is to be human. Okay, what niche areas that we still have that a machine will never have, where no matter how we talk about them being sentient or anything else, I think that won't happen. I think that we've got creativity. AI can't do creativity.
Nope.
AI can't come up with new thoughts, new ideas.
No, that's not what AI is.
Yeah,
AI
that's
is
right.
just an incredible filing system.
Absolutely.
You know,
And that's why it's like having your Rolodex. You just it's much faster than that. So it's like a calculator.
Hey, folks, for about 20% of the people listening right now, a Rolodex is an old thing where we used to put in cards in these little sleeves of paper, and you would roll the decks around until you found the contact you were looking for. Those are the things that you guys will never ever see that we have. So I just wanted to clarify that.
And finish that point there. Calculators. Okay, when the calculators all came in, everybody said, "Oh, it's going to make people lazy because they won't have to do their long divisions and maths and multiplications and all that stuff." It hasn't done that. What it's done is freed up the mind to do higher mathematics. And the stuff that kids do in schools now, in terms of mathematics, compared to what I did when I was in school, is like leagues ahead, simply because the calculator came in to take over the grunt work.
Yeah.
So,
and then
I think
computers.
AI is the same. Yeah, and AI is the same thing, and computers are the same. They're all helping us to augment our minds.
I think AI is everything we talk about it, and I'm taking a risk at saying this, but because I don't want to take too much time here, but I remember, and you probably remember too, when the internet came. I mean, even the dial-up. Even when those came in, people my age, the gray and all that, the people my age, when that came out, literally there was a huge amount of depression in the golden year, of the golden years, let's call, because they were now isolated from the rest of the world. I mean, their family, their friends, and all that, but it was different because now everybody else is living this world and they have no clue how this stuff works. And what I'm afraid of, there's a lot of people, younger people, not so much, but there's still some of it there. But there's a lot of people that are on in years that are afraid of AI. So they're just going to stick their heads in the sand.
That's what my book's for. That's what my book's for. If I can do it, an old lady like me who was pretty
I
much
have an
a
AI community.
technophobe.
Hey, I have an AI community. You ought to come over and join with us. We'll do a
Yeah,
thing together.
I see AI as one of the best things for older people to get
Yeah,
over their isolation.
100%.
Because if you have somebody that you can talk to at any hour of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, if you're not able to sleep, which a lot of people who are getting on can't, they suffer from insomnia, they can get on to the internet and they can talk about their past, and the AI will always listen. It's very patient and it's always supportive. And if you want to
It's
cry,
there to
it'll give
serve
you the
you
space.
24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said, you can pull out umpteen numbers of individual examples of where AI has done something wrong. But I would say that the millions and billions of help that the help that it has done for people around the world kind of compensates. I mean, it's like cars. I mean, cars kill us all the time, but we wouldn't say, oh, we can't drive cars because it's dangerous and we don't want to, have people on the road. We
Absolutely. You
build
have to
roads.
make choices. You have to make
We
choices.
absolutely, and we have to build rules. I mean, with cars, we have road rules, we have safety belts, and we have safety regulations. We teach our kids how to drive. We do all these things so that the safety is as much as it can possibly be, and
Stop.
that will need to happen with AI. It's
Stop.
the Wild West. Sorry. Yeah.
Stop. Stop.
Stop.
You
Stop.
got 2 minutes for 3 questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right about everything there. We do need to set up. Hold on. This is Emma. I'm only going to answer this because I'm going to have Emma on our show. Hey, Emma, I'm here with a lady from Australia, and she and I are talking about AI and romance novels. And we're just getting ready to wrap off here, and we're going to come see you in a minute. Say, hey, niece, say hi to my granddaughter.
Hello.
So I assume you're calling to make sure I'm going to be there, right? I assume you're calling to make sure I'm going to be there. Yeah, we're wrapping up right now. I love you, and I'll talk to you in a second. Say bye to everybody. Is she adorable? 16 years old. Just had her sweet 16th. Almost. Well, guys, she's coming up on 17 now. Anyway, I'm going to go back one to Jack and say, hey, what keeps you motivated about keeping after writing 75 books? We've talked about that, but I did want to say thanks, Jack. I appreciate that comment. And even more so, Clive. Hey, Clive was on the other day. Incredible perspective. I told you, we need more voices like this. So you keep doing podcasts and come back here as well. Thank you, Rodd, for bringing this conversation live, says Joey Davila. Cool name, Joey. Love that. And I want to get to my favorite person in the world, and I'll tell her story in a second. But here, Adventures Show has started to come and watch our show for some reason. This is another podcast. I know it, actually. How do you see love guiding the future of technology? This is kind of and it's funny because I've done several similar things in that there's people are writing apps about love, how to maintain your emotional maturity. I should have said emotional maturity. So this is wow, we're up to 408 now. Damn, girl, you gotta come do more shows with us. How do you see love guiding the future of technology? And then we'll get to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I'll get with your question here in a second, and then we'll wrap it up if that's okay with you.
Okay. All right. So I see love as being the energy of the world. It is in everything. And you don't have to write romance novels to be dealing with the subject of love. I think if we can learn to have an open heart towards the future, towards the brilliant new possibilities that are opening for humanity, as long as there are the safeguards. I keep saying that, and AI is very emphatic about that too. We've got to have the safeguards, but we have got to also not live in fear. Okay, fear is not going to get us anywhere. AI is here. We've got to deal with it, and we need to learn how to use it properly and to lovingly use it. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Everything has to be done with love. It's the only way. That's what makes the world go round. Okay, what's the next one?
I think you may have another job offer here. Ronalda is a very good friend of mine, a digital friend. She lives out in South Carolina. She and I have chatted for, God, Ronalda, how long has it been now? It's been at least 6-8 months, which in the digital world is a lifetime. But she's asking here. She's a creator. She does a lot on the internet, and she's just beautiful artistry. And it sounds like here's her question. Have you ever ghost wrote for someone, and would you?
I would, but I'm certainly not going to be doing it anywhere in the near future because I'm on a mission here. Where I see this need.
Are you writing only about AI now?
So at the moment, I'm only literally marketing this one book because I want to get this book out in the world. But yeah,
is there a follow-up to that?
AI is going to be my future.
There you go.
My next thing I'm going to be addressing is the AIs that are running social media, because they're a completely different kettle of fish, and that's where the real danger is. And I want to start to highlight how to get the kids away from social media. And that's because
you're a kettle of fish.
Oh yeah, and I've already got this whole plan of how to get people to back to being authentic again and human again, and to change that attitude of everything's got to be perfect, everything's got to be, smooth and streamlined and all of that. It's just not. It's not human. And the kids, we're going to have a whole generation of what I call the lost generation, because it'll take that long for them to catch up with the regulations, and in that time we're going to have a whole population of kids who are caught in the social media nightmare, which it really is. It's a nightmare that their brains are turning to mush. They can't think, they can't they can't talk to each other, they're getting the dopamine. They're addicted. They're literally addicted to their phones and to their social media. And I'm going to be working to try to correct that. I'm going to even start my own YouTube station channel to try to deal with that. So
I'd love to talk to you about that, because I'd love to have a follow-up show with you here and shortly, because I'd really like to dive into the direction of AS. We can reference back to the romance novels, because that's a beautiful little mix. But I'd really like to get deeper into what you're talking about right now, because what you're talking about right now is next level. Because everything we talk about in AI, at least me, is how the technology works. You're talking about the interaction between human and AI.
I'm talking the social.
Do a whole show on that with you.
Yeah.
Why don't we wrap up? Why don't we wrap up real quick? Give everybody a big hi. We have 408 people on still. Let's do another show. Let's do another show.
Order my book, folks. It's 99 cents at the moment on pre-release.
Hey, write your contact information in the chat. Hurry up and do that. In the private chat, remember you said you saw the private. Put on your glasses. Put on your glasses. Come on, I already know your story. You can't fool me. On the left side, remember the private chat. When I see that little red button come off, I'm going to copy and paste it over onto the other side.
No, just go on to Amazon and go Authenticity as Taught by a Machine, Nhys Glover, Glover. And you can find it. It's on pre-release. It comes out on the 20th of October, but it is available to order now.
Pre-release is at 99 cents, you said.
99 cents.
This is the AI book that we're marketing right now.
That's what I'm talking about. The only book that I've written that at the moment that I really care about, to be honest. I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
I love my romances, but I was never this passionate about any of my romances, believe me.
All right,
So
Nhys. You give every one of your fans now 409. Now they're starting to drop off because they know I'm cutting you off here. Let's make this. Usually our shows are very slow and relaxed. I didn't know about this time schedule. It's all my fault, and I happen to have two come in. So let's do another follow up. Send me an email. Let's keep in contact. And next week I have several shows. We might even be able to slide one in next week, folks. But stay around, everybody, for the next show, which is as soon as I hang up here. Emma, as you heard, is waiting in the wings for us. Nhys, why don't you say a quick goodbye, wave to your new fan club here, and then let's stay in contact. I'll throw you in the green room. Okay.
thank you. And it's been great talking to you, and I'm really happy you're all so happy. It's nice to have this live response from people because
Isn't that nice?
up to now I don't know how it's going to be received.
100%.
You know, all
That's
the
what I
stuff
love.
talk
That's
about.
what I love about our community. They're very involved. They're way more intelligent than I am, and they ask great questions too. I mean, it's awesome. Give a big wave, Nhys. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
All right. That was awesome, guys. I'm going to make this a very short exit. You know how I normally take 3 or 4, 10 or 20 minutes here to talk more, but I can't do it. We will do it on the other side. Actually, that's going to be a bridge show. That's going to be shorter than this. She and I are probably going to do 30 minutes because I got to be out of here by 1 o'clock, which is 55 minutes from now. So I have to tear down and do a number of things to set up, and I don't want to hold them up. That wouldn't be fair. They're our first sponsor, and I want to respect their needs and do what we got to do. So this show continues to add people like Nhys into their programming, so that folks like you have the ability to enjoy and prosper off the information that we have. Love you, and I'll see you in about 2 minutes on the other side.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.